You mentioned some of the key players, and I wanted to ask you. I had written down specifically because they're the ones that always stood out most to me, and that's Mark Adams, Mark Hicks, and Steve Washington. Adams on bass, Drac Hicks on guitar, and Washington's primary instrument, as far as I know, was trumpet.
But he played all the rhythm instruments as well.
So, could you describe? You talked a little bit about what they brought. Maybe you could go a little deeper into that if possible, but also, what were they about musically and also personally, especially, since, Adams and Hicks aren't with us anymore.
Well, like I said, we grew up together in high school and in bands. What I'd say about Mark Adams, I'll start with Mark Adams. He loved to play, and he practiced all the time. And one of the blessings for me was I went to see Earth, Wind and Fire in Tallahassee about a month ago. And I met Verdine White. Mark Adams loved Verdine White. He loved Verdine. He also loved, and this is an interesting one, Grand Funk Railroad, Mel Shatner.
Mm-hmm.
He really dug him as well, the bass player for Grand Funk Railroad. But he loved Verdine. He was into, more than anybody, Verdine. And I was able to tell Verdine White that the great Mark Adams, who had passed, you were his main cat. You were his main influence. And that blessed me. And it was like, I know, Mark, wherever you are, I know that I was able to tell Verdine White, because he absolutely loved Verdine. And he practiced a lot. His sound, his style was a little of Verdine, a little of Graham. He loved Graham as well, Larry Graham, but his thumping was ridiculous. But Mark Adams' finger attack on the bass was just amazing. And a lot of that is his influence from Verdine. Mark Adams as a person was very fun. He liked to joke, and as most of us did, but he always practiced. He practiced all the time. And if you listen to his records, he does a lot of moves on the bass, but it sounds effortless. It doesn't sound busy either. He plays a lot of moves, but it doesn't sound busy. It just sounds like he's emotionally responding to the music, and that he has the facility to play whatever he feels. And so the way that we would lock together on drums and bass, I would set up a cadence, and he would just sort of dance over it. And I knew just my feels had to be just the right ones and not be too busy so he could dance. And again, to me, Mark Adams is one of the best bass players of all time in this music. Mark Hicks, he loves Sly from a rhythm perspective. Freddie, he dug Freddie Stone. But from a lead perspective, he loved Jimi Hendrix. He loved Hendrix. And what I dug about Drac's sound, it was overdrive and it has sustain, but it didn't sound really affected. It didn't sound like, oh, okay, somebody just kicked on the overdrive and now it's got this distortion that's way overdone. He had that strong natural distortion with just a little on it, so you heard the lines. They weren't so affected, and the sustain was there in a way that Carlos Santana, he has that sustain. You hear distortion, but it isn't taking over the sound. That's what I dug about Drac. His distortion never took over the sound. Oh, okay, he just turned on the distortion pedal. Yes, and another, he loved Jimi Hendrix. Drac was a fun guy as well. And Drac loved that rock and roll, so we did that funk rock thing. And again, that solo that he played on Slide, 16 years old. It's ridiculous. It's iconic. But not just from the lines, the tone. He had great tone in a way that a lot of some of the great blues players, you know, Albert Collins, cats like that out of Texas, that great tone. Drac had the great tone, and it was very unique. You know, he dug P-Funk as well. So he married that rock and roll and that funk, and I think he did it in a very special way.
Yeah, incredible combination. The two marks, unbelievable.